Hello beautiful people around the web, this is Snickers HD and today I present you the last gameplay of the Scout review. Today's review is the Scout melee weapons and I will review everything of them, so stay up, stay tuned for more and we see us next time. Have fun and enjoy the gameplay. To understand the way how the Scout melee works, I just throw in some facts. All melee weapons of the Scout work with the same attack speed, with the same damage, with the same crit chance, with the same range and the same actual swing speed. The only differences are that the melees have different attributes to them which alter the weapons and make them unique. And before some people start complaining, oh man, where's the ham, where's the frying pan, and where's the little sign like melee weapon, I will not review them. Despite the fact that I don't even have the ham, these weapons are just like the regular bat, the original Scout melee weapon. Which leads me to the bat itself. The bat is the default Scout melee. It attacks fast, but with a low damage. However, the more often you attack and the faster you attack, the more often the critical hits occur. Unfortunately, the Scout is quite fragile. He just isn't designed for fair melee combat. He has the speed and jump advantage, but still every class has the same attacking range, which makes the speed quite useless. However, if you are good enough and still can time your attacks right, you can try to outmaneuver the opponent and get here and there one hit more than he is able to land on you. But the soon you eat that one crit, you are good for. So better use the melee weapon as a fun gimmick and hunt down people, but you don't really need to use it. The Holy Makrele is a fish. It is a fish. I mean, it is a fish. I don't think you need to know anything else than this. This is the third weapon of the Milkman set of the Scout, but it has the same stats as the bat, but adds an extra notification to the kill feed in the top right hand corner that you actually hit someone with the disgracefulness of a fish. The candy cane is a great weapon. Since the Scout is quite useless in melee combat, this weapon adds a passive effect which will make enemies drop small medikits when they die from one of your attacks. There are two downsides to this weapon. The first is that you get more explosive damage, and the second is everyone can take that medikit. It doesn't necessarily need to be a downside, but it will get you killed here and there. Enemies take the medikit and get an advantage over you, or friendly collects the medikit and you die of fire. Happened to me at least. The Atomizer is one of the top tier Scout weapons. It may take slower and with a lower damage, but it also grants you the ability to triple jump on the cost of 10 health points. This may sound strange, but indeed is very useful. As Scout you don't really need to triple jump, but it comes in handy in sticky situations when it comes to dodge a well-placed rocket, a grenade or other projectiles. And 10 health isn't that great of a deal if you have the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol equipped, which grants you an extra of 15 health points. The Boston Basher is one of the rather useless weapons. On hit you add a bleeding damage effect on the enemy, but on miss you hit yourself plus the bleeding damage. Use it with caution or straight up leave it behind because it's awful. Self-inflicted damage can be avoided by simply not using this weapon, and that's what you should do too. The Sun on a Stick is a fun weapon. It has reduced damage by 25%, but its ability to crit enemies who are on fire is a great feature. Team up with a pyro, let him set multiple enemies on fire with a scorch shot, flare gun or whatever he wants to use, and you come out of nowhere and spam the attack button to land the 100% sure crits. It can be useful, but only if you have pyros with you and don't threaten yourself too much by exposing yourself to opponents, okay? The Sandman is capable of stunning enemies when hit with the secondary attack of the Sandman, which launches a baseball at targets. It is a projectile and can even be deflected by a pyro's air blast, so aim good and try to hit targets with a minimum of distance. The farther the ball flies, the longer the targets will be stunned. If the ball hits, the enemy cannot shoot and is slowed down. On distance, the effect increases. If you hit anyone from the maximum distance, however, they will be fully stunned, rendering them completely helpless for a couple of seconds. Despite this effect, the Sandman drains 15 health points and has no other benefits to it. Not the best weapon, but if you are skilled enough to actually hit enemies, you can greatly support your team. Pro tip! Once you have launched the baseball, you can collect it to use the secondary attack again. If you do, you don't have to wait until it's completely recharged. The Assassin Wrap does the same thing as the Sandman. It launches a Christmas ball at enemies, which only inflicts damage and adds a bleed effect. It has reduced melee damage by 70% and is designed to only use the secondary attack. If you miss, you can't collect the crystal spot again, or you have to wait until it's completely recharged. The Fan O War deals literally no damage, with only 1 to 2 damage per hit. It is the worst melee weapon in that regard. However, its effect is to add a mini crit debuff on opponents. My tip is to use the baby's face blaster with a full speed boost, chase after target, get the melee hit on, and then get the primary weapon out to quickly take down the opponent. It is a great weapon and has a huge potential since it has no other downsides despite the melee damage. But as a scout you don't melee anyways, so you are left with a mini crit adding a weapon. Now I quickly sum up the weapons and their usability in MVM. The bat, no use. If you don't have anything else, then you have to stick with that. The Holy Makrele. This is the same method as the bat. However, if you run the Milkman set for the 150 health points, go for it. The Candy Cane. I don't really recommend to use it. The scout isn't designed for a great kill in MVM, and you will be healed by collecting money. So you won't need it anyways, but die fast of explosions. The Atomizer, best in slot, full stop. Movability is essential, and you shouldn't melee anyways, so this is the best one. Boston Basher, useless, completely useless. Sun on a stick, if you have a pyro, this should be an upgrade to the bat or the Makrele, but still not really recommended. The Sandman, it has no purpose. If you can pull off a great stun on the bomb carrier, you are great, really, you are great, I've never done this. But it can't attack often enough to make up for the minus 15 health points. The Assassin Wrap has really no use. It is right next to the Boston Basher. Leave it. It might be an alternative to the bat, but its damage output is limited to little or no damage if you miss. The Fan O War is another top tier melee. If you don't have a sniper with a JRT or the Simply Sniper, then I would recommend you to use the Fan O War, especially if your team isn't able to deal a great amount of damage. You can easily increase it by hitting a robot once. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay as well as the commentary, and I hope you can learn something out of this summary. Why don't you leave a comment, like this video and subscribe to my channel to make sure that you will not miss any further tutorials, gameplays or other commentaries. The next video will be about the Soldier, which is the next class next to the Scout. It starts with an S, it's kind of funny, but I don't really know. So we'll see us next time, but until then, keep it up. The Pretty Boy's pocket pistol has the same damage model as the default pistol. The two downsides are that you will receive more fire damage and a decreased fire rate with the pistol itself. However, it has two huge upgrades. For one, it reduces all falling damage to 0. And second, you gain a health boost of 15 points.